Welcome to the topic, Prayers for Peace of Mind. If you are looking for peace of mind, these prayers are the key to overcoming anxiety and stress in your life. These prayers not only help you find inner peace, but also motivate you to feel the comfort of God. Each prayer is a step forward in your journey to find peace, helping you overcome challenges and find hope in the midst of difficulties. As you listen to these prayers, you will feel the peace that envelopes you, like a gentle wave that soothes your soul and brings balance to your life. So let each prayer help you relieve anxiety, heal your heart, and open the door to peace for your soul. Lord, when I stand before you in the silence of my soul, the first feeling I notice is not serenity or peace, but the noises within me, anxiety, doubt, unnamed sadness. Perhaps that is why I am praying, because I know I need you more than ever. In this world, everything can change in an instant. A bright day can turn into a storm, a joy can turn into sadness, and a peaceful life can be swept away in the waves of trials. So I ask myself, does peace really exist in my heart, or is it just a vague concept that I am always searching for? I know that the peace I am looking for is not something that can be bought with money or power. It is not the peace that comes when everything around me is going smoothly. Lord, is that peace a gift that you have reserved for me, a gift that cannot be broken by hardships, fears, or loneliness? You teach us that peace is not the absence of trials, but the strength to overcome them without losing faith in you. That is to say, true peace does not come from external circumstances, but from inner peace, from the steadfastness of faith. So why can't I find it, despite my many prayers? I wonder if I can find peace if life is full of trials? Can peace exist in a world where injustice, suffering, and disappointment are ever present? And if peace is a gift from you, am I not open enough to receive it? In times of trouble, when everything seems to be falling apart, I feel like a little leaf in a storm, unable to control myself, unable to keep my balance. But surely, Lord, you do not want me to live like that. You have taught us that when we humble ourselves and turn to you in times of trouble, you will give us a peace that no one can take away. Jesus taught us that the peace he gives is not the peace that this world can give. He said in the book of John, "Peace I leave with you. My peace I give to you. The peace the world cannot give to you." It is a peace that surpasses all understanding, a peace that can only be found in God, in a deep connection with Him. This is not the peace that comes when life is free of challenges, but the peace that I can find even in difficult times, when everything around me seems to be falling apart. So how can I recognize and live in that peace? God, in the moments when I feel lost and confused, you can see the suffering in my heart, but sometimes I do not know how to free myself from those feelings. I understand that only when I know how to turn to you, only when I offer my soul to you, can I find true peace. But that is not easy. In our daily lives, we are caught up in worries, concerns about food, clothing, money, family, work. These worries easily take over our hearts, leaving no space for us to feel your presence. How can I find peace in a world full of chaos and suffering? But when I stop and listen to myself, when I find stillness, I realize that peace doesn't come from having everything I want. Peace comes from accepting that life will never be perfect, and that God is the source of all peace. God doesn't promise us that He will remove all the difficulties in life, but He promises to be with us, guiding us and giving us the strength to overcome all challenges. So can I find peace if I open my heart and put my trust in Him? I think that sometimes it's my excessive anxiety and clinging to temporary things that keep me from feeling peace. God, if I can let go of all those things, can I open my heart to receive the peace that you have to offer? Can I let go of my complacency, my pride, and my fear and find peace and serenity in you? I understand that peace is not something that can be found outside, but must start from within myself. Only when I can find peace within myself can I share that peace with others. And so I pray, Lord, that you will give me the peace that only you can give. Help me to let go of all my worries and fears so that I can live in the peace and freedom that you have made available to me. Help me to remember that you are the source of all peace and that only when I turn to you can I find true peace. Lord, give me the peace that you have promised so that I can live a life filled with love and trust in you. Lord, in the quiet moments when my soul begins to seek peace, I notice something strange. It seems that I am always looking for peace outside of myself, in what I can touch, what I can see, hear, and feel. But am I looking for peace where you have placed it for me? Lord, am I forgetting that this peace is not something material, but peace within my soul, where you are present? While I am always looking outside of this life, am I ignoring the deep source that only you can give me? I feel that the peace you give is not something that can be taken away or lost, but a steadfastness and faith, a sense of peace in my soul despite the changes in the world. But why do I still feel lost, insecure, and worried? Is it because I have not given my whole heart to you enough? You have taught me that peace does not come from external conditions, but from within, when I offer all my worries and sorrows to you. I know that in order to realize peace in you, I must offer my soul as a gift, a loving offering. When I offer my soul to you, it is not simply a word. It is an act of faith and hope when I open my heart, holding back no doubts, so that you can enter my heart and soothe all my worries. My soul is like a vast field where you can sow seeds of peace. And when I allow you to sow these seeds, I will notice a change from deep within myself. Lord, in the silence of my life, I realize that I cannot bring peace on my own. I used to think I was in control of my life, but the more I tried to control it, the more I felt lost. Perhaps when I was so focused on controlling everything around me, I missed your presence, your guidance in difficult moments. I cannot control everything, but I can learn to surrender my heart to you. When I do this, peace will come, not from control, but from letting you be my guide on the path of true peace. My heart may be troubled by constant worries, but every time I stop and reflect on your presence, I feel lighter. You are my safe haven, my strong anchor to keep me from getting lost in the storms of life. As you say in the Bible, come to me, all you who are weary and burdened, and I will give you rest, Matthew 11, verse 28. I believe that when I come to you, you will ease my pain and anxiety, and peace will come as a gift that only you can give. So I wonder if I need to learn to let go. Worries about the future, problems from the past, and problems in the present can all make me feel stressed and confused. But can I leave all of these things to you? Can I give you all of these burdens without worrying that I won't get anything in return? Sometimes I think I have to handle everything myself, but then I realize that it is my pride and self-sufficiency that keep me from the peace that you give. Lord, in this prayer I offer you the burdens of my heart, the worries about the future, the difficulties that I cannot handle. I know that I cannot overcome them all alone, but with you, I can stand firm in the face of every challenge. Please give me the strength to surrender everything to you, so that I can find peace in you. I believe that as I do this, all my worries will gradually fade away, like waves breaking upon the shore. And in this serenity, I will feel your presence, guiding me through every step of my life. In this prayer, I realized something important. Peace is not a state of absolute stillness, but a continuous process of surrender and trust. When I surrender my heart to God, I do not do it just once, but every day, every hour. The peace I find is not a final destination, but a never-ending journey, where each step is a step closer to a deeper connection with you. Lord, in those moments when I feel far away from you, I need to turn back to you and find peace. I need to remember that peace does not come from having everything perfect, but from living in your presence, where I no longer have to fear, no longer worry about things I cannot control. When I surrender everything to you, I will find peace not only in happy times, but also in difficult, challenging times. For when you are with me, I have nothing to fear, and your peace will always surround me. So I pray, Lord, that you help me understand that giving my heart to you is not just an act of faith, but a release and opening of myself to receive the peace you give. I believe that in this peace I will find the strength to overcome any challenge, and in my absolute trust in you, I will be able to live a full and peaceful life. Lord, I realize that in my search for peace, I seem to be caught up in the things around me. Have I been so focused on external conditions, circumstances that I cannot control, that I forget that true peace can only come from you? I know that the peace you give is not the absence of challenges, but a deep inner peace, knowing that you are always there, never ABA, condoning me even in my most desperate moments. So, when I have given my heart to you, how can I truly live in this peace? How can I feel that this peace is not something I have to search for, but something I need to recognize and receive with gratitude? Lord, when I stop to reflect, I realize that peace is not something I can control by my own strength or will. It is when I stop worrying about the things I cannot change, when I surrender myself completely to you, that true peace can come to me. God has taught us that this peace is not something external, but a gift that comes from within. When I live in connection with you, when I feel your boundless love, that peace will naturally appear in my life, even in the most difficult times. I know that this peace is not an easy thing to achieve, especially when this life is always full of challenges, difficulties, and pain. Worries about the future, worries about children, work, health, and relationships sometimes make me feel tired and exhausted. I have wondered if I can live in true peace when all these things still exist around me, but through prayer and quiet moments, I understand that peace does not come from solving all the problems in this life, but from compromising with God, trusting Him that He will lead me through them all. Peace is not something that can be achieved by avoiding difficulties, but when you learn to face them without being crushed by fear. Jesus said, "In the world you will have trouble, but be of good cheer. I have overcome the world," John 16, verse 33. God does not promise that our lives will be without difficulties, but He promises that He will be with us, and He will help us overcome all challenges. That is the foundation of the peace He gives us. Peace is not the absence of suffering, but the ability to see God's presence in moments of suffering and trust that He will lead you to a good end. When I surrender my heart to you, it does not mean that I will not face difficulties, but that I will have the strength to face them calmly, patiently, and with hope. I cannot overcome all the challenges in this life on my own, but I believe that with your company, I will never be abandoned. You are the source of the peace I am looking for, and only when I realize that all I need is you can I live in true peace. You are my light, my compass when I am lost, my trustworthy companion in every situation. I know that peace is not something that can be achieved by simple prayers or temporary actions. The peace that you give is a continuous process, a process that I must maintain every day, every moment, every second. As I learn to live in your presence, as I patiently and trustingly trust you, I will find that peace is not just a gift, but a profound presence in every step of my life. I cannot control everything in this life, but I can control how I respond to the challenges I face. When I feel your peace, I will no longer be disturbed by external factors, but instead, I will learn to live in a calmness and stability that only a connection with you can bring. I ask you to help me realize that peace is not something far away, but a gift that I can receive right now, as I trust and live in your presence. Lord, thank you for teaching me that peace comes from a deep connection with you. I know that when I live in this connection, when I offer my heart to you each day, I will find that peace is not an external condition, but an internal state where I feel your presence with every step. I ask you to give me the peace you promise, so that I can live a life filled with hope, filled with love, and never let worry and fear take over my heart. Peace is not something I can find in material things or power, but a gift you have already given me. It is a gift I need to recognize and open my heart to. Your peace is not the absence of difficulties, but your presence in those trials, your steadfastness and faith when I face trials and suffering. I believe that as I learn to live in connection with you, I will be able to find peace even in the most difficult times. I ask you to help me remember that peace is not a one-time gift, but a constant presence in my life. When I surrender my heart to you, I seek peace not only in quiet moments, but in every moment of my life. I know that with this peace, I will be able to live a life filled with meaning, hope, and love, and will always remember that in every trial, you are the source of the peace I seek. Lord, after hours of searching, of offering my soul to you, I began to understand that peace is not a one-time goal, but a continuous journey, a daily practice. I used to think that peace would only come when everything in my life was perfect, when all worries and challenges were resolved. But now I realize that peace is not the absence of difficulties, but the presence of you in those difficulties. Lord, I have always sought peace, but am I not really ready to realize that true peace does not come from mastering circumstances, but from mastering myself, from finding peace in my soul when facing challenges? So how can I live in this peace completely? When I offer my heart to God, when I trust in Him and surrender all my worries, I know that peace does not come from a lack in my life, but from the harmony of my heart with His presence. But sometimes I feel lost, that peace is still far away. How can I live in peace even when all around me is full of storms, inevitable challenges? Lord, when I feel exhausted by difficulties and worries, I remember your words. Come to me, all you who are weary and burdened, and I will give you rest. Matthew 11, verse 28. I understand that peace is not something I can create on my own, but is a complete surrender to you. When I feel tired, when the burdens of life become too much, I need to turn to God, to find rest in His presence. But sometimes, in this busy life, I forget that peace only comes when I truly allow Him to touch my heart. I am so busy with work, relationships, and things that I consider important, that I forget that God is the only source of peace. Lord, have I not really learned how to let go of all that is unnecessary in order to receive the peace that you have given me? When I think about peace, I realize that it comes not only from standing still and praying, but also from acceptance in my heart. True peace comes from accepting every situation in life and believing that no matter how great the challenges are, God is always with me. He will never abandon me. Peace is not something you can ask for and receive immediately, but a gradual process of learning to live in God's presence, learning to surrender everything to Him, and learning to accept the impermanence of this life. I know that in difficult times, when I feel most hopeless, that is when I need to turn to God. When I entrust the burdens of life to Him, I will find that He will help me overcome all challenges. I will realize that peace is not the solution to all problems, but the steadfastness and faith that God is always guiding me through all challenges. This peace is not the end of suffering, but the strength to stand firm in those challenges, so that I do not get caught up in the worries and fears that this world often brings. I understand that peace comes from forgiving, not only those who have hurt me, but also forgiving myself. When you hold on to the hurt in your heart, when you cannot forgive, you will not be able to feel the peace that God gives. Forgiveness is one of the important paths to peace, because only when you leave the past behind can you feel the peace that He wants to give you. When I forgive those who have hurt me, I not only free them, but I also free myself. The burdens on my heart will be lifted, and peace will take their place. I know that forgiveness is not easy, but it is the only way for me to find true peace. Forgiveness is the release of all resentment, the letting go of negative feelings, and the renewal of my heart so that it can receive peace from God. When I give my heart to you, when I forgive and let go of all burdens, peace will come, not in the way the world expects, but in the way God wants. I know that peace is not just a temporary feeling, but a lasting presence in my life, a peace that can only come when I live in your presence, when I give my heart to you every day. The peace that you give is not comfort, but stability in the heart. God does not promise that my life will be without difficulties, but He promises that He will be with me and help me through every challenge. Therefore, I will not be afraid, and even when I feel weak, I will know that you are the source of peace and strength in my life. Lord, I surrender all my worries, fears, and burdens to you. Help me learn to live in the peace you give, not only in the quiet times, but also in all the challenges of life. I believe that when I surrender everything to you, When I live in your presence, I will find true peace, and that peace will guide me through all the difficulties of life. Lord, thank you for teaching me that peace comes from accepting you as the source of all well-being in my life. I will continue to give my heart to you. I will continue to live in your presence, and I will trust that the peace you give me will help me overcome all the difficulties and challenges in life. I know that when I live in your peace, I will always find stability and hope in every situation. Lord, as I look back on my journey, I realize something very important. The peace I seek is not something that can be achieved quickly or easily, but is a constant process, a long journey in which I learn to surrender my heart to you every day, every moment. I used to think that peace would only come when everything around me was in perfect order, when I no longer faced challenges or suffering. But now I realize that true peace comes from accepting and living in your presence, even when life is not perfect. Lord, throughout the years, I have tried many times to find peace in the way I thought was right. I have sought it in external conditions, in control, in achieving success, in relationships, or even in avoiding the challenges of life. But all of these things do not bring true peace. They are only temporary, a false sense of security that eventually vanishes when trouble comes. Lord, can I understand that peace does not come from changing circumstances, but from changing my heart, from learning to live in serenity despite the turmoil of the world around me? The peace that you give me is a gift that lasts forever, but I find that there are times when I lose it. Perhaps it is when I forget your presence in my life, when I begin to believe that I can handle things on my own instead of relying on your guidance. I have tried to live my life the way I thought was right, but I have come to realize that when I live apart from your presence, I will never find true peace. I need to learn to live in connection with you, to surrender all my worries and pains to you so that you can bring me true peace. I cannot control everything, and the more I try to control, the more I find myself caught in a spiral of anxiety and fear. God has taught us that peace is not the absence of problems, but the ability to face them calmly and steadfastly. Peace is not the absence of challenges, but the presence of you in those challenges. As I look back on my life, I realize that every challenge, every difficulty is an opportunity for me to find peace in trusting you, in surrendering all my worries to you. Lord, whenever I face difficulties, I remember your words in the Bible. Do not be anxious about anything, but in everything, offer your requests to God by prayer and thanksgiving. Philippians 4 verse 6. I understand that when I surrender everything to you, you will give me a peace that surpasses all understanding. I know that when I ask and offer all my worries to you, I will find peace in my soul, for you are the source of all peace. However, I also realize that peace is not something that comes from simple prayers, but from a change in how I live, from learning to let go and trust completely in your guidance. Lord, I need to learn to let you be my guide, and not just in the moments when I feel tired or confused, but in every moment of my life. I ask you to help me not only give you the difficult times, but also the moments of peace, so that I can live each day in the wonderful peace you give. In every trial, I am reminded that peace is a choice, a decision in the heart not to be caught up in the worries of life, but instead, to decide to live in complete trust in God. I know that every day, I must decide to surrender all my worries and fears to God, not because I can do it myself, but because I trust in Him that He will help me overcome all difficulties. I understand that peace is not an endless stillness in life, but the ability to live calmly when things are not perfect, when there is suffering or challenge. I thank God for teaching me that peace is not something that can be found outside of myself, but a state of mind, a connection with God in every moment of my life. When I live in His presence, I feel protected, loved, and comforted. Even if the world changes, even if things don't go my way, I can still live in His absolute peace. I believe that when I live in His presence, when I truly trust in Him in every situation, the peace that He gives will not just be a temporary feeling, but will be an eternal presence in my life. I believe that through every trial, I will find peace in surrendering everything to Him, in living each day with gratitude and trust in Him. Therefore, I will no longer seek peace in external conditions, but will find it in living with Him every day. Lord, I offer you all my worries, fears, and burdens in my life. Help me to learn to live in the peace that you have given me, so that I can feel peace not only in the quiet moments, but also in the midst of all my trials and difficulties. I believe that when I live in your presence, your peace will guide me through all my trials, and I will always feel calm and steady, no matter how many storms surround me. Thank you for teaching me that true peace can only come when I live in your presence, when I offer you all my worries, all my pain, and all my worries. I will continue to live in your peace, continuing to offer you my heart each day so that you can guide me, help me through all my trials, and in all situations, I will find the wonderful peace that only you can give.